Hey YouTube, what's happening? Back at you with a real quick video update on Ethereum. What's it doing? Is it bottoming and so forth? And so, for more detail, check out my previous video. But we're just going to do a quick 5 minute update, top to bottom. So higher time frame to lower. Here's the monthly. You can see the Elliott wave here peaked, and now we're in a correction ABC pattern. The A and the C are about equivalent in length. So standard correction there. That's very typical to have an ABC zigzag with the A and the C legs similar in length. And now we're here. July, month of July is a green bar. And so it looks like there's a small wick at the top. So anything can happen. As you can see, volatility's in. It's around 56 here on the ADX. Volatility is always in crypto though. So things can move, but I mean, you can see clear as day on this monthly that volatility or not, these securities follow standard trading principles just like any other security. I mean, you have a standard three wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Elliott wave, tops out, and then you have ABC correction. It's all very standard, and so now we've got momentum here. It topped, it slowed down, it reversed, and now it's back to the zero line. So this green bar makes sense. The question now becomes, is it just another sideways consolidation before we have another ABC correction? Most likely not, but you don't know until you know for sure. And so what we're looking for are certain signs, price action telling the same story as these three other indicators to give confirmation that what we're seeing is legit. It's not just random activity, etc. It's okay, the market decided this is the bottom, and now they're all committing to going long and buying in and so forth. And so that's what we want to see before we actually take a position. And so this is a very good sign here. And so in my previous video, which was within a week, it was essentially like, okay, we're here. Is this actually bottoming, or is it just kind of going sideways, like it did here before it kind of goes upside a little bit and then busts again? I mean, it's pretty low on the scale. I mean, look at it, it troughed here around 900. So like, I don't see it going any lower. I mean, I guess technically, like, it could come back to the start of the wave, like down here in the 700s, but I don't know. It's not looking at like it right now. So you've got a two bar confirmation here upside. The CCI is back in the blue, which is good. That means if you're short, once it crosses in, you're supposed to sell. Well, buy technically. You're supposed to buy back and get out of the trade. That moves basically over. But you've got a two bar here. These indicators aren't giving really much confirmation, so let's go to the daily and see what we can see there. Same pattern, just more bars, because it's daily bars versus a weekly. But as you can see here, you've got that kind of descending triangle where it broke out into like 3, 4 bars upside, and then it busted on the weekly. Same pattern. And so like here it's going sideways, so it's like, okay, did that bottom? Because that's a strong support level there. Look at it, it touched it at least. Yeah, so the support's here. So what's very common on a bottom is it will trough like it did here. It'll pierce that support line. So the support line's like typically where it touches most, It's not like, okay, the very bottom or even like right here where these two bars kind of like it's where they touch the most because it will retest support, and if it's strong and it holds, then typically you're going to go like here the support is downside, and so it's holding it pierced it and then it held one, two, three times, and now it's going long, and so that's a good sign. You've got the directional bias cross here. Volatility is slowing down though. These red dots are a squeeze, so extreme consolidation, and then as you can see, once it goes away, it pops and there's a move. But the move is essentially ending here on the daily. It peaked right here on this bar. Price is still kind of high, but the CCI is coming down. That means cash is flowing out. It's slowing down. So it's kind of like, okay, it might have bottomed here and there's strong support, and now it's kind of breaking out upside. But is that real? Because if you recall on the weekly, it did something very similar here. You've got this descending triangle pattern, and those are great when they're like this, where it's kind of a bottoming pattern and then it breaks upside, because when you draw the trend lines, you basically your action points over the trend line, which would have been like a lot lower, so you get like a big move. Whereas if it's ascending and it's bottoming, you can't really buy in. The action point would be like way up here, like halfway on the second bar, because the trend line's straight across, like right here versus down here. So as you can see, those descending triangle patterns are great to trade when they break out. Um, Upside where the angle is, because you get all that move. But as you can see, it busted. So, I mean, you had a nice like 2 bar confirmation, and then you're supposed to go in the trade. But what you have to be aware of as a trader is that those bust. And so you have to make sure that you've got a stop in place, because look, it busted and then it came way back because it's in a correction. So you have to know the macro, and then you also have to know different patterns and be able to recognize, okay, this had a 2 bar confirmation out of a descending triangle pattern, which is a legit move. Do I want to buy in here where I'm supposed to? It's the least risky because you got that 2 bar, but it could bust too. So you've got to have a stop in place, and so it did bust because the macro trend is a correction after this 5 wave Elliott wave here. You've got your ABC wave, and now it's possibly bottomed here, and you've got a 2 bar. So on the daily, it's not really very convincing. It looks like it just kind of pulled back a little bit after that strong down move, and it might like reset for another move downside. It's just in a spot where you can't call it 100% yet. And so if you go and watch my other video, I was saying like it's looking good, but like I really don't want to take a trade until it's like upside of this blue trend line here, because if it's still in a downtrend, or they want to keep it in a downtrend, here's the move, and it's just kind of correcting a little bit from that this entire move downside. It's got to even out, supply and demand. It's got to balance out a little bit, and so I'm just hesitant because it's like people see this and then they start buying in and so forth, and because they think it bottomed, and it hasn't really bottomed, and it's just going to go up for a few bars and then it's going to bust again, and that's how they get your money. So like to me, the less risky is to actually know for sure, like, okay, we've changed sentiment and it's going to go upside, and that's the way they want it. The bulls took over. That way, like, yeah, you're gonna miss some of the move, but like it's lower risk because like you're trading with the market. That's always the best way to go, with the trend. Um, So that's kind of where I'm at. It's not really, it's kind of doing what I thought. Like it's going to go correct up towards this, and then it's slowing down like right here, so a partial. So what's it going to do? So it's too early for me to make a trade. I personally wouldn't. I'm looking at the CCI, and you can see like how it was touching the trend lines down here on the low side. But now there's a ton of partials. Look at this, and they're going higher, 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 and then it's also poking in on the upside this whole time. So like you can see it's kind of like the trend's kind of going upside, right? So we'll see what happens. That's my call right now to wait. Like I want to see either like some sideways consolidation here and then another breakout, and I'll buy in with a good stop to protect me just in case it does bust. But like this is no man's land right here. Like this is just uh this could be a pseudo bottom with a normal pullback to correct, for this downside move to balance out some supply demand before it just slams down again. So there's no way I'm going to commit my money until I know for sure the market has committed their money. And I don't care what direction it is necessarily, but I'm watching for that. And preferably it's upside above this trend line so I can go long and just, swing trade it back to a new top, preferably a new high, which would be like over 4,500 or 5 grand. So not really a bad trade, right? Um, but yeah, so that's it. That's the analysis and the update. So it's still just, no man's land. It's confusing. It looks promising. But to me, a commitment is going to be a good 2 bar confirmation up outside of um, this trend line here. That's the action point. And then not on the 4 hour, but on the daily and the weekly, I'm looking for once that move is made, I'm looking for some really good confirmations on my other indicators. So I don't know I'll get that. I mean, look at how high this just basically peaked out here, and it's only a partial. It's not even that close to the trend line. So um, these cross, but it's kind of like big deal, right? Because they kind of cross over here, and then look what happened. It came back down. So this alone can't be used. I look at price action, I look at the patterns, I look at the macro, ABC corrective wave. It could be ending because of this bottoming support type thing, but I'm not committing until the market does, and to me, that's up here with good confirmations from all of these. And right now, the CCI is way too high. It peaked here, and so if price goes up, I mean, this would have to come up, but there's not really a whole lot of room for it to go. Like, it's never going to really go up higher than that. Like, it's just, like, just look back. Like, it just doesn't, right? So, to me, in my opinion, this is just, at this time, just a normal pullback from this downside move. It might consolidate here a little bit, or it might even just start coming back down since this peaked. The cross here, I don't really doesn't really mean anything to me at this time. But yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna watch. Looking for that price to come upside. That's what I want. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. And if you can short, I would. I would short. I mean, if it's not going up, it's gonna go sideways or down, and it's unlikely to go sideways for too long, as you can see. So anyway, that's it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. And if you got any tips or tricks for me, throw them there. Um, just looking to facilitate some conversation. So leave a comment, like, subscribe, and good luck with your trading. Take care.